In Part 4, Father Cahill told us of the constant action of the Trinity for the 4,000 years from Adam to Christ. Let us now correct our understanding of the problem of the Protestants. As we near the end of our commentary on this Catholic work of Father Cahill's, a most interesting conundrum occurs for those who peddle the lie that Catholics who adhere to these universally taught doctrines of a young earth and instantaneous creation are somehow biblicist Protestant fundamentalists. The title of the sermon by Father Cahill expresses much. The Bible as interpreted by private judgment, false as a rule of faith. The chief error of Protestantism is not any one of the 5 solae, as many mistakenly believe. The root of all their heresies is that of private judgment, that the only obligatory rules of faith are those discerned by the individual himself, apart from any overarching authority. This is clearly brought to the forefront for the audience. Let us look at what this Catholic priest relates, as reported by the Catholic journal, The Tablet. The distinguished orator commenced by stating that he hoped to prove by the clearest evidence that the Bible as interpreted by private judgment was false as a rule of faith. And he then proceeded to show that from the creation of the world up to the time of Moses, there was no written work in existence whereby true believers could have been directed or governed. And yet, after all, faith had been handed down pure from generation to generation, from father to son, and so on. There was no law written as regarded faith, so that at least for a period of 2,600 years after the creation of Adam, man had no written book to guide him as a rule of faith. And yet, God was worshipped by man, and the true faith preserved all that time without a written book, and God's law was obeyed. In one paragraph we see the following from this Catholic priest. The Protestant error of private judgment is condemned. The creation of the world is mentioned together with Adam. A timestamp of about 2,600 years is cited for the time of the creation of the world to the time of Moses, where the author Father Cahill believes doctrines passed without the written word. Lastly, the philosophically grounded modern uniformitarianism places the processes of nature as having the same power in every place in the world, in every age throughout time, since the beginning of time. In other words, the natural processes observed today in geological, astronomical, and biological fields are sufficient to function as the blueprint of investigation for all that has happened in the past. This error states falsely that the processes we observe, experience, and measure today match perfectly those that would have been observed, experienced, and measured in previous ages. Is there a chance for a global catastrophic flood occurring in the past? Not if we do not observe global catastrophic floods today. Uniformitarian investigation complete. This pseudo-scientific approach allows for the displacement of God's uniform power, but not the processes of nature. If it is not so obvious, look once again at Father Cahill's wording for describing the uniform power of the Word of God. The Word of God will certainly have the same power in every place, in every age. In our conclusion, we will make soberly clear the implications of abandoning the Catholic doctrine taught by Father Cahill in favor of that of the naturalists.